Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Roast of Dolazar. I'm just kidding. Welcome back to Street Queens Con 4.
Please.
I hope that we're having a lovely time. These panels have been incredible. Thank you once again to everyone who is showing up, donating to AmFAR, who is showing up, moderating our momagers, everyone on Team Stream Queens. We are stacked with Stream Queens members today. Isn't that nice? So yeah, we're here to have a conversation with creators about disabilities, with creators with disabilities, and about. So I'm always very excited and happy to host this panel every single year. I'll introduce myself in a second. If you don't know who I am, shame on you. But
That's true. That's true.
I do not identify as a creator with disabilities, but this is a panel that I started with our first Stream Queens Con because it's important. I know several creators with disabilities. I have worked as a behavior therapist for years and years, and this is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. But this panel is not about me, even though I'm about to introduce myself. My name is Surreal, CYREEL. I'm a musician, drag artist, member of Team Stream Queens, and your moderator right now. And that's all I'm going to say on me today. So we're going to go ahead and kick it off. We're going to let these fabulous individuals introduce themselves. We have not discussed an order, so we're just going to roll the dice. Alexis, let's start with you.
As Marisol said the other day, you're pointing the gun at me, huh? Okay, let's go. Hi, everyone. My name is Alexis Atari. My pronouns are she, they. I am a type 1 diabetic since I was 13 years old. So, 10 years, no, probably like over 20 years now at this point, I've been living with diabetes. Today, I'm very excited to be in this new model skin that I designed and rigged myself. So thanks so much for having me. Thank you.
So talented.
Multimedia icon and legend. Like the models look good, the drag looks good. Thank you so much for being here, Alexis. Let's slide on over to, are we going in alphabetical order? I know the alphabet. So we're gonna go to Renee. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna go to Aphasia Speaks.
You're so dumb. I was like, oh, we are. Work. Slay the house down boots. Yes, hi, hello. My name is Aphasia Speaks, Black gender queer drag artist. I run the Speakeasy over on my channel. I am on Team Stream Queens, obviously, Accepted Color and Overture. And I have a degenerative eye disease where I'm slowly going blind. And so that also makes my eyes super irritated. And today while doing my makeup, I poked my eye and I said, I'm not wearing lashes, so I'm going to wear my glasses instead. So I'm serving you e-girl teas right now. So yeah.
We love it. And listen, you had a valid reason to not put on lashes. I ran out of time. Thank you so much for being here, Aphasia. Very excited to do this panel with you. We've talked about your condition like since I've known you, but this is your first time joining this panel. And I'm happy to chat about things with you today. Up next, we have the one and only. We have Dola, y'all, and I just have to say, Dola has been running Stream Queens Cons along with our momagers since their inception back in whatever year that was. And
2020? I don't even know anymore.
Who knows math? Not me. But this is Dola's debut as a panelist, and I
guess Dola face review. Hello.
Dola pulled me aside in the Stream Queens locker room before we came out onto the field today and was like, "Bitch, if there's anyone I wanted to coach my first game of football, it's you." And I said, "Thank you."
Why the sports reference?
I love the sports analogy for some reason.
I don't know.
My God,
I don't understand any of this.
I look like a football player. I look like a linebacker, so I totally get it.
Dola's huge, Jesus.
Yeah, Dola's huge, Jesus.
Tell us about yourself.
So I'm Doladar. Where's my camera? Here's my camera. Hello.
It's on.
Where's my camera?
I never stream for myself. This is like the first time doing anything like this. But I am one of the producers of Stream Queens Con. 4 years now. This is the fourth one. I feel delirious. I was working for 15 hours yesterday. It was great.
This should have been the first panel.
Honestly.
I got to it earlier in the day so I wouldn't be looking like a gremlin up here. Because as soon as the camera's off, it's over. This bra's coming off. I'm whipping it in the floor.
Same.
So I'm a producer for Stream Queens Con. I'm an illustrator. I am also on Twitch's Safety Advisory Council. I wear lots of different hats. My diagnosis, I didn't get diagnosed until this year, like January. But I always had issues with either mobility or numbness, or like once my eye stopped working randomly, like this eye had no sight in it for months. And then last year, I got vertigo really bad, the room was spinning constantly, could not even walk, couldn't take care of myself, any of that. And that lasted for like a week. Went to the doctor, got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which is hard to say and not fun to have. And what that is multiple sclerosis. I literally can't say it.
MS, I guess.
MS, yes.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, growing up, I always thought it was like a skin issue or something, because it sounds like cirrhosis or like, I don't know. Psoriasis. That's the word I was trying to think of. But it's actually an autoimmune issue where your white blood cells will attack the casing around your nerves in your brain and spinal cord. And if that doesn't sound like it's that bad, just imagine like when you have like an Apple iPhone charger or like just any sort of charger and the outside of it peels off, just how easy it is to start fraying and shorting out. So that's what your nerves do. And if your nerves are broken, everything's broken. It affects everything: walk, gait, sight, taste, smell, touch, everything. So yeah, it's not good. Anyway, that's me. Enjoy.
Well, listen, thank you so much for being here. My mom also has an autoimmune disease. She has lupus. So I'm adjacently familiar with some of the struggle. So, and I was talking to Dola like pretty directly around the time when the eyesight stuff was happening. So I was checking in on the bestie.
Yeah, I think you were one of the first people I told when I got diagnosed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that was an autoimmune disease as well. Thank you for sharing. Type
Yeah,
1
of course.
diabetes is also the same thing.
Lost Hebe momentarily, I hope.
We'll get Hebe back. And well, Hebe was next. Hebe knew that we had to talk about leave it to Hebe.
Leave it to Hebe.
I don't want to speak today. I'm off.
Hebe said, "There's one thing I can do. It's fuck up the alphabet. Let's do this." So we're just gonna throw caution to the wind and say that the letter R comes before the letter H, and we're gonna have Renee DeLay introduce herself.
Hello, my name's Renee DeLay. I'm a British queer drag streamer, and my disability is that I don't understand the costume memos. So I've come dressed as Satan for this.
You're perfect.
I do that thing called distract people with humor whilst I open the crib sheet to try and remember what I was actually trying to say. So I was on this panel last year. Thank you for inviting me back. I had a super good time. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a queer streamer from the UK. I have a myriad of interesting disabilities and issues. I'm autistic. I have 48% hearing. So if I don't respond to anyone, it's either I've not heard you or I don't care. I have scoliosis, dyspraxia, and probably something autoimmune going on. I don't know. I'm in the middle of working that one out. But my medical record is bigger than my butt. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. You always you will turn a look, Renee. And I also just have to say, your name is such a
I was gonna say
name
surreal
in my life. Does anyone, the super sidebar for my first question, does anybody do the very queer thing where you just have a random arbitrary name that you just yell out when you're mad?
Brenda,
Barbara,
Jim, Barbara,
Jim.
For a long time, mine was Beth, and I got so sick of Beth that I just had to retire it. And my name that I yell out has been Renee for a long time.
It's been Renee.
Renee. So
Oh,
man,
my
I would just be like
influence.
Renee. Please.
My influence. If I wasn't painted red, I'd blush.
So I just want to say thank you for being a Renee I can trust.
Mhm.
But let's
I mean,
get
I am dressed as Satan, so if you want to trust me, that's your risk.
I mean,
Honestly,
if
I'm
you've seen
down.
my drag most days out of the year, you're gonna think I'm maligned. So let's just go with it. But let's talk about just in general. I just want to ask a general question, just to let you all take it and.
It's Hebe.
Hello.
Oh, we got Hebe back.
Yeah, Hebe.
you had a whole. I gave you like a whole segment while you were gone, so I just felt like we got.
Oh, okay.
We got, no. Welcome back. I said that you have to sacrifice the alphabet. In true fashion. So
I guess OBS Virtual Cam doesn't like Google very much.
it happens.
But hello everybody, my name's Hebe Buffet. I'm an all-you-can-eat course of horror, RPGs, and drag here on Twitch. I am a member of Team Stream Queens, Overture, Timeless, and Stream for a Cause, and you can find me on my channel basically doing whatever the hell I want. My disability is I am very depressed. Go figure. And I have ADHD, which I struggle with on a day-to-day. It affects my streaming schedule. It affects my energy when I get home from work. It's real fun. It's cute.
It's fashion.
Well, thank you for sharing and thank you for being here, Hebe. You look stunning. Like as her would say, "Ooh." So I wanted to first ask, just in what all of y'all do in your day-to-day life, in your jobs, in your relationships with your families, in your creation, how do you navigate that? Like, how do you balance? Because I know balance is a huge thing for everybody, but balance, especially in terms of energy, and like task management, it comes into play in different ways for creators with disabilities. So talk to us about, sort of how you navigate your day-to-day to-do lists and your disabilities. And whoever wants to start.
I feel like with MS it's difficult because it's one of those bitch you thought diseases where
I passed the question, thought I was safe to drink some water.
Where you'll be totally fine, and then all of a sudden everything will go crazy, and you have to go to bed for a month. Like, it's one of those diseases. So, in terms of like time management or sort of balancing day-to-day life, I'd say it's really difficult for me because I don't know when the disease will strike, I guess. So yeah, for me, I don't know. Like, I do my best when I can, and then when I can't, I can't, and there's just nothing I can do about it. And I have to. The hardest part is edging the autoimmune disorder. Yes, Jenny, thank you.
Who doesn't love a bit of edging?
Right.
It's not past 9 at night, and we're already talking about this.
I need church
But yeah,
immediately.
the hardest,
right.
the hardest part is letting myself relax and go to bed and know that I'm not being lazy, that I have to be still for the disease to settle down and make it so that I can have a day-to-day, basically. That's my answer.
No,
Edging the autoimmune disease.
For 500.
The Doladar story.
No, I think that is that's such an important piece, because even like, this isn't the same thing at all, but like, I have to, like, when I just get sick, like, it triggers my depression. So like, but like, you talking about needing to try to like convince yourself that you're not being lazy. It's what your body can do in the moment. That's a huge piece. So thank you for sharing that.
I think that's really good to bring up, because a lot of the disabilities that I cope with, I've only realized that I've had later in life. I mean, I'm 35. I've only realized in the past 2-3 years that I have autism. I was diagnosed with scoliosis about 7 years ago. So I can completely understand the nature of knowing something's not quite right, and that putting you completely in a hole. And especially since being diagnosed later in life, I found that the way that I automatically navigate stuff is through humor, because I figure I'd rather laugh at it to try and cope with it and
That
get
part.
past it, because if I don't, my alternative is that I'm upset. So why not completely depower my own emotions in that sense, rather than getting annoyed at something I can't do through no fault of my own, and just, you know what, laugh at it, because I'm dyspraxic. I am going to drop things. I am going to make noodles and put milk in it by mistake because I was making the very British cup of tea at the same time. You know, if we can't laugh at our own humor, we will get sad.
Yeah.
Laugh at our own humor, laugh at our own disabilities. I know what I meant.
And so do we.
I laugh at my own humor as well, in fairness. Someone has to.
If you don't laugh at your own jokes, are they really?
Sometimes I'm the only one that
True.
laughs at my own humor.
There you go.
And we thank you for that.
I've been there.
The
I've seen
healing
it.
power of the boundary.
Well, speaking of your own jokes, Hebe, why don't you tell it? How do you navigate your day-to-day life?
So I wake up in the morning, stumble to the kitchen, grab myself a cup of ambition, and by cup of ambition I mean I take my meds. I take Prozac and recently Vyvanse every morning. Vyvanse now has a generic for ADHD besties, but it's like I work a day shift on the day that I work. That's redundant, but it's like I roll out of bed at 5:30 in the morning. I get on a bus, I go to work, and I work until 3:30 p.m. and it's very repetitive, task based. And at work, if I don't like to take my lunch break until I know my main task for the day is done, because I will not go back to it. It's like, and that's a big part of ADHD. It's like once you engage in a task, you have to see it through or you will not finish it. Like it's bad. It's like sometimes I have to, like, if cleaning my desk, which I need to do that. It's basically literally closing myself in my room and just staring into the abyss until I get it done sometimes, which is ADHD paralysis. And the ADHD and the depression can kind of play off each other, because a lot of times I'll come up with these grandiose ideas because my thoughts are bouncing back and forth, and then I can't always implement them to the best of my abilities in terms of like stream. If anybody's watched my stream, I'm always announcing shit like every other day. And I try to turn everything into an event. And then it kind of falls to the wayside because I have stuff going on offline, stuff going on online. I perform live sometimes. And it's very hard, and it triggers my depression because it just makes me feel like I'm not good enough. But at the end of the day, I'm a petty bitch sometimes. And I tell myself like that I treat that depression like somebody else in the back of my head that's living there rent free. And I'm like, can you shut up for 2 seconds? Because I think I'm pretty great. But it's like, I didn't find out I was ADHD until about 2 years ago. I finally got a formal diagnosis. And it was very frustrating because throughout a lot of my life, I was always told, oh, you can apply yourself. You're just being lazy. Look, you have all these seasons of Power Rangers memorized. You have all these characters from Resident Evil memorized. You can do it. You just choose not to. And that wasn't the case. It was just because it wasn't triggering a dopamine release, I wasn't able to focus on it.
No, there's so many layers to it, and I like how I appreciate how you talk about how things impact one another and sort of how it can create that domino effect in just your day-to-day life, and it can really dictate how your day moves beyond that. So thank you for that. Who have we had go? We still need Alexis and Aphasia. There we go. I did that.
I'll
You
go.
got it. You're on top of it.
Speak. I will aphasia speak. Yeah, I guess in my like day-to-day like routine, since the biggest disability I have is my eyesight is visual, it's in my right eye. So like whenever I'm streaming or whatever, and you see like, oh, there's like a glare in her right eye, it's not a glare, it's a scar on my cornea. that is slowly like taking over my whole entire eye. I got diagnosed with this, I want to say in like 2017, because I was still my mom's insurance at the time before I turned 27. And so my doctor was like, at first he thought like, you know, he asked me if I had any traumatic things to my eye. And I was like, no, not really. Like at the time I was working as like a souvenir photographer at one of the hotels on the strip with like exotic birds. And some the doctor was like, did one of the birds like scratch your eye? Did you like get something in your eye while working? I was like, no, not at all. Like, I don't know those fuckers anywhere near. But like eventually I did because I had to start handling them. But I was like, no, not at all. And so he was like, okay, this is really weird because my eyesight would change like every year I go to the doctor. It would like normally it's like a slight change for people, but mine was like going up and down every single year. So after getting that diagnosis and then slowly losing my eyesight in my right eye, my left eye is doing double duty, and so I constantly live with a headache and like a migraine.
Oof.
I've come to the point where like I like get used to it, but there are like certain days and like harsh light like it like makes it worse, like exacerbates it. Like right, I'm like these lights I have on right now are doing a lot for me, but I've gotten used to it for streaming. But in recent times, you know, I used to stream 12 hours a day. Now it's like I can barely get through possibly 5 because like my eyes are just like screaming at me to stop. So I have to deal with light sensitivity. So my room is constantly dark all the time when I'm like on my computer. I have to have, you know, like special glasses whenever I am on my computer so it doesn't make my eyes worse. And then since I am losing my eyesight on my right side, I have to keep a lot of things on my left side so I can actually see them. And then with that and having ADHD, object permanence is like, like if I literally don't see it, it
does not
Doesn't
exist.
exist.
And then I literally can't see it. It might as well have it like written out of history because I don't know what it is. But what is it? Like I don't know what anything is. So like if you ever see me like turn my full body somewhere because I need to see what I'm looking at. And it's hard, it's terrible, and it makes playing video games hard because it's like I play a lot of Valorant, and that's a very like precise game. You have to like see where people are. And I'm like, do you not see them there? I'm like, no, bitch, I didn't see them there. You want to know why? It's on my right hand side. Like I can't see. So it's become a thing, and like it's affected like my mental health because like I'll like clean something or like start cleaning something, and then I think I'm done. But then, you know, I go back, I'm like, oh, I didn't fully clean this because I didn't see this one tiny spot or whatever. Like I half sweep the floor, mop the floor because I didn't see the things that I needed to get. And it makes it really frustrating because like I don't have a job right now, and I'm also been living with my parents since the pandemic. And so my mom's like, you didn't clean properly. I'm like, well, I can't freaking see. So like you need to give me some grace here because I literally can't see what I'm doing. So that gets really frustrating. And then like the headaches get worse throughout the day. And so if I'm ever in disco, I'm like, okay, guys, I'm gonna pop out for a minute because I need to go lie down. I need to go lie down in a dark place and like reset my eyes because it has just debilitated me to a point where it's like I can't look at anything like has like bright lights at all. But I've been living with this for a long time, so I've been like getting used to it. But I'm at the point now where my eyesight is changing every 3 to 6 months, and I don't have insurance to go to the doctor all the time, so I have to go once a year. Even when I go, I can't get like the proper lenses that I need because I also need like transition lenses and polarized lenses, and those can cost up to like $1,000 for all the things that I need on them. So it's like I guess I gotta pick one, you know, whenever I get glasses. So yeah, it's been a lot, but you know, I'm living. We're still here.
Thriving.
You know?
Well, listen, you're a fucking light regardless. Like I appreciate anytime. Gotti. No, I appreciate whenever like I get to hang out with you, and you know, we have all these "this is my sister" moments.
Mhm.
I love you downtown, and no, but for real, I think that's one thing. Like even just like growing up and realizing like all the things that my mom goes through, like it's like when people are dealing with so much just because of things that they've been diagnosed with or not. People don't have not been diagnosed with these things, but they're still dealing with the side effects and all that. But when they can still there's certain people that can still just like pour into others so much and like be such a source of love and light and inspiration for people, and not like inspiration the way that people toxically use it towards people with disabilities. But I just have so much respect and admiration for that. So thank you. I love you.
Thank you.
Precious moments.
My sister.
This is my sister. We're gonna pass it to Alexis Atari. Color Purple coming out this month. Alexis Atari, tell us what is your day-to-day like?
Thank you. I really resonated with what Dola was talking about, is like making space for the unexpected. For those who don't understand the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes, type 1 is very, very different than type 2. I almost wish they weren't called the same thing. My pancreas doesn't make insulin anymore, which is the hormone that takes the sugar out of your blood and gives it to all of your lovely organs. So even when I eat something, if I don't give myself insulin by injection, I won't get any of the energy or any of the things from it. And while I do have pump therapy, some days you wake up and your blood sugar is like 300, which normal range is like 100 to 120. I can't do anything for the next 2 hours. Luckily, it's only 2 hours, but I have to wait and treat myself. And that can really interrupt with, okay, I'm going to wake up first thing and have this interview, this appointment, this call with my team, this stream I wanted to do. Sometimes it's very frustrating because I think I overcompensate for my disability by just like kind of pushing through and always being hyper productive to the point of burnout.
Yep.
I've learned that really making the space and accepting, like, hey, it's okay. Like, just take the rest. Like, I know this is not what you planned today. You might have to push that task to the next day or something. It's fine. Give yourself more grace. And not only has that been really healing for me, I notice now working with other artists, streamers, collaborators, when someone's kind of being like, behind schedule or not meeting the expectations that they gave me in terms of like timeline or output, I'm also more forgiving because like maybe there's something's going on that I don't know about and I shouldn't know about, but it's okay to also not put that pressure on other people because a lot of people struggle with the same exact thing. So my day to day, I just try to do my fucking best, honestly. But
That's tea.
it's hard, especially now. I was recently laid off, and we all have to now. I have to jump through the many hoops of insurance to get my life-sustaining medication, which you think would be covered, but even on my most top dollar, amazing, top of the line insurance that I had with corporate America this past year, my insulin was not covered. Full
That's
stop.
wild.
Wow.
You want to know what was covered? My Trenton Owen, my anti-wrinkle cream
What?
was
Oh
covered at
my
no
God.
cost to me, but they still wanted and insisted that I have to pay, I think, somewhere upwards of $300, and this is after insurance, for all of my stuff every 90 days just to stay alive. And I'm just like, come on, y'all. It's not like, I don't know, like with all with all disabilities, I think medication is very life sustaining for us. So like I just really don't understand this fight we have to have sometimes
Mm-hmm.
when we're just trying to go about our fucking day. Like that's hard enough. So yeah, that's my answer. A little bit of clownery, a little bit of space for resting, and just try to do your best.
And listen, you're doing it beautifully and you bring up such an important, there's so many like different pathways we can take these discussions, that we have taken these discussions in the past. There's like the prescription and insurance inhumane, like inhumanity, like is an entire piece
Oh,
in
we'd
and of
be here
itself.
all day.
And then
All
so
day
like that could be
speaking.
the entire con.
I mean,
And then some.
I'll just say that the medication that I have to take to manage my MS to keep it from relapsing is over $8,000 a month
Oh my God.
God.
with no insurance. The only way I'm able to be on this medication and stay alive and stay out of a wheelchair basically is because I found this one program that somehow got me the medication for reduced or free. And if it wasn't for this one program that exists, then I don't know. I don't know what my quality of life would be.
Yeah.
So
You bring
that
up a
is
really good
definitely a
point, though,
problem.
that those programs do exist for a lot
Yes.
of disabilities. So if you are struggling with like coverage or getting your medication, like do some research, ask some friends, lean on your community, because there's always a way, which is, I think, the most frustrating part. Is there
Yes.
always a way to get covered? So why don't they just make it easy for us?
It really isn't easy. My best recommendation is go to like one of the larger charities or organizations that deal specifically with your disorder or disability. That's the way I got it. I got my medication that won't work for every disability that exists, but it's out there for some of them at least.
Yeah. It's just there's
I think
the,
that,
no, go
sorry.
ahead, Renee. No.
I think that's an ongoing problem worldwide. I mean, in the UK, with us having the NHS, there is obviously a slightly different system. We don't really have to deal with the insurances in the same way. We do have a prescription system that we can go through to get medications. However, I do think that worldwide there is this growing trend to almost commercialize disability and medication. And like Alexis said, it's almost like we have to pay for the right to exist.
Yes.
Well,
And
what's
whilst
happened with those
continue, yeah, and like continuing to exist is not only difficult and painful, it's expensive, and we become a commodity to the people that are looking at us. And I don't know what everyone else's experiences of disability have been, but there have been times where, and I'm being careful what I say because I'm on the internet, etc., but it almost feels like, depending on who I'm talking to, whether that be work, friends, family, where I have to almost justify my own existence. It's like, well, you know, I've got this issue going on and I can't do anything about it, but I have medications and etc., 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 dealing with all these side effects. And yet the world almost dismisses this, that it's expensive to simply exist when you are a person who society disables. Because the way I've come to see things myself isn't that I am a disabled person. I see it as that society disables me, and then expects me to pay to be part of it. It's a vicious circle of able people telling us that we have to be able to afford to be part of their world.
Yep.
I've never heard it stated that way, but that's so exactly what it is, because especially when you point out that there are solutions. There are, for not necessarily everything, but there are ways to make quality of life more manageable and more affordable. And the way that society treats how we get these medications to people or don't get these treatments to people or don't, and how we treat them in our day-to-day life, it makes it that much harder. So thank you so much for saying that.
And there's also the stigma of when you do get medicated, like you may have people in your life, for example, my mother, when I first got diagnosed with depression and got medicated, she was like, well, sometimes you just have tough days. And it's like, no, my brain physically does not produce enough of the chemicals that balance my mood. Like, and as somebody, because my mother also has a disability, she has lupus, you would think she would understand like that, but because it's a brain illness and not like a physical body illness to a degree, she doesn't see it as something that needs to be medicated.
I think there's that unintentional ignorance behind some things, because my family are mostly pretty accepting of things that I go through, but they, not having issues themselves, don't understand what it's like. And I remember when I was going through my initial stages of hearing loss, I had x-rays and MRI scans on the inside of my head. I basically have a degenerative disease that is causing the inner bones in my skull to disintegrate over time. That's caused nerve damage. And I took a member of my family to the viewing of the x-ray to get the initial diagnosis, and they turned to me and said, I didn't know you had hearing problems. And I remember sitting there and going, why did you think you were here? like, just thought, go to
Field
the
trip
hospital for a day out, just I had nothing better to do, and I discovered I have scoliosis when I slipped a disc in my back, and I got very, very lucky with it. And I managed to get myself home and onto my sofa. But when I was on the sofa, I remember being in so much pain from the waist up, but then losing the ability to feel my legs. And of course, I call my mum, and I'm like, because at this point in time, she lived around the corner from me, and I'm like, I need you to come over. I need help. I literally can't move. And she came over, let herself in with the emergency key, and she walked over to the sofa, took one look at me, and went, you should just walk it off. It's just a bit of back pain. I'm like, I literally can't feel my legs. I have no movement in my legs. How can I walk this off? And there's that sort of, we don't go through it, so we can't process what it's like to have those issues. The one, I mean, I don't know what it is like for everyone else here, but the one that I do get a lot, which part of me finds amusing, is that as a deaf person, I get a lot of people that say, what's it like to be deaf? And I just kind of look at them like, I don't know, what's it like to hear things? How we don't have the vocabulary or the language to communicate this. Like, I don't know, I've never heard things before. Ain't that strange? So I can completely identify with that lack of empathy, whether it's intentional or not, and the willful ignorance of some people who just seem to think that it's okay to look at us and kind of go, yeah, well, you're just not trying hard enough. Have you considered trying harder to be normal?
Gee, what a novel idea. It's almost like I would if I could.
Insert that image from the Babadook here.
And the thing, and we've talked about it on this panel before, and like the thing is that like it's so, the way that people treat individuals with disabilities, whether, especially with visible disabilities, when they're kids, they're taught to like, oh no, like don't go over there, don't talk to them. Like they're very the way that we teach children to interact with people with disabilities is very backwards. It's very,
it's like a learning moment, and it's weird.
And so many people just like shut it down every time, or so many parents will shut down that learning moment every time. And I just think it's just a poor reflection of where we're at as a society. I think. Aphasia, I wanted to ask you, because you talked about your vision and your eyesight and having to take breaks from computers and things like that. I guess, how do you, or are there things that you can do, or are there things that are out there that can make your experience with like that can make doing things like streaming and gaming more accessible to you, or less taxing on you?
Yeah, so there are some things out there. Last I went to the eye doctor, they're like, oh, we can get you a full-on like was it the big like sclera like contact lens to go over my full like eye. But the problem with like contacts in general is that how my eye is scarred, there's like a bump on my eye. And so anything that's on top of it just irritates it immediately. And so to get that fixed, I would need to go into surgery to like get part of my eye shaved evenly. Yeah, and then like there's something else to help would get a full corneal transplant. But then I'm like, bitch, if I'm not seeing ghosts like Jessica Alba in the eye, I don't want it.
So true.
You know,
man.
like
So
if I'm not seeing ghosts, what's the point? Like
I cannot.
I want my eyeball to be haunted.
Calm down, Fifi Dobson.
It's just the ghost of that skincare line she did.
oh my god.
Oh my god.
Like, but like I learned also last year that a couple years ago that it's in both eyes, is that the right eye is progressing further along than the left eye. Rest in peace to the left eye. I'm so sorry.
You're not, and I respect that.
So like those things like help, and then there's like specialized like polarized glasses that I can wear, but like all these things cost money.
Mhm.
And what's the one thing I don't have is money. So like before I got off my mom's insurance, I learned all these things, and I was like, okay, well, what can I do now while I'm still on my mom's insurance? Because my mom like works for the state. It's basically like the like, I don't know, the black card of insurance out here in Southern Nevada. I was working for the state and getting state insurance. Like when I was on that shit, I would go to any doctor's appointment, zero copay, medications free. Like it was great. Like I loved going to the doctor because I was like, I ain't got to pay for shit. It was great. But then after I got off it, I was like, oh wait, this costs how much? Like a visit to the quick care costs $500.
Yep.
Because I had a cough that you said, oh, it's nothing. You have a cold or whatever. You'll hear some antibiotics and go home. I'm like, the antibiotics cost $200. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So now it's just like trying to find ways to help me. Like I've become accustomed to just like wearing sunglasses more, which I never was like sunglasses person. Ironically enough, living in Las Vegas, like you think I wear a lot of sunglasses, but like I really didn't.
Only at night.
I wear my sunglasses at night, you know, because the lights on the strip are so bright, and I live in a hotel on the strip, like everyone thinks that people in Las Vegas do.
The real reason.
The real reason. But yeah, it's hard to do a lot of things, but I've found ways to like circumvent them. Like I've been wearing a lot more hats recently to like get sun out of my eyes, and once again, like Dola knows living in a freaking desert.
Oh, yeah.
There's no clouds in the sky
Nope.
because it's so hot and arid. So like there's nothing to keep you shaded. So the sunglasses, the hats help a lot. But also like generally being indoors and like lower lighting is like where I thrive and live. Even like my phone, I don't have the brightness on my phone up all the time. And like I have to have like the texts on my phone like larger than normal. Mm-hmm. I feel like that like 90-year-old grandma on her phone looking at like this and just like tapping it, but the letters are like as big as the freaking screen because I can't see them. And I do that as well in like games, and whenever I like share my screen, my cursor is large because I can't see it otherwise. Like I literally lose my cursor all the time. People are like, why is your cursor so big? I was like, because I'm blind.
Next.
So,
yep.
Exactly what I was say.
Next question.
Like, yes, it's adorable and cute, but like it's also huge because I can't see shit. So like little things like that, like I will say the accessibility for the visually impaired people have in like technology and like has gotten a lot better in the past like 5 to 10 years. But when I first got this diagnosis, it was hard to do anything. And it's also like I also have astigmatism to go along with it. So like what's an astigmatism? I love that commercial. And it's like it affects me driving at night as well. I need to go back to the doctor and see if I can even drive at all with my eyesight where it's going. I haven't applied for disability from the state yet because I'm like, if I do that, will they then say, oh, you can't drive at all? And I'm like, I don't want to do that, but also I don't want to endanger other people on the road if I can't drive at night. So it's like there's all these things I'm like trying to jump through and like think to myself, okay, well, let's try and get a job where you don't have to drive somewhere. But like most of the jobs in the city are going to be hospitality stuff on the strip. And like with all those lights going everywhere, bitch, I can't see shit. So it's hard, but you know, I'm trying to adjust to it more and more. My mom, like they saying earlier, like, oh, why don't you just walk it off? My mom was like, well, why don't you just wear your glasses? I'm like, okay, I do wear my glasses, but guess what? This prescription is old. Like it was working for me for about 6-7 months, and now my eyesight has changed again. And so I gotta get a new pair of glasses, or like get a new lenses put in to these glasses, and that's a whole issue in itself. So, you know, it's hard, but it's not like not manageable. But it's getting I can tell it's getting worse over the past like 2 years. I'm like, okay, my eyesight's getting a little worse, and I'm really hoping to get a job that I can have full insurance with visual on it, so I can regularly go to the doctor, get checked up on my eyes, and get like the things that I need to make, you know, living better.
100%.
It's also like affected my makeup as well, my drag, because I can't do like precise lines like for like eyeliner, because I can't like close, and I can't close my left eye to see my right side of my face or whatever, because like I can't see it, and so it's always not going to be there. That's why you always see me in a sultry smoky eye, because I can't do precise like line work. I would love to. I think I would eat with a sharp, a sharp little like eyeliner moment, little cat eye moment, but she lives in the smoky world, so
that's why my wing's so big.
There it is.
I mean, I'm known for my delicate eyelines, so subtle makeup. I mean, don't we love it?
I'm only wearing chapstick right now.
Honestly, I was gonna ask you.
What's being drag here, Dola?
I thought that's what was happening. Drag. No,
I was streaming
so
for
great.
15 hours yesterday. I don't want to hear it.
No, you're sorry.
Have a partner.
Ooh.
I appreciate all the y'all just like sharing your experiences. I know that we get into some heavier topics here, but I do want to make sure that I also give y'all some shout outs, because y'all have been individually doing some incredible things in these streets, in what you do in your lane. I know Hebe has been absolutely crushing it in their local scene, putting on event. Like, how many gigs do you do a week, Hebe?
None.
None.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Well,
I do, when Drag Race happens, I have a weekly gig, but if Drag Race isn't airing,
this is a very hilarious segue and transition. I love that. We're gonna take our time here. No, but you just put on the event in your scene.
yeah, Heebie-Jeebies 4.
Heebie-Jeebies, yes.
That's my yearly Halloween gig. I don't get a lot of Saturday shows, but when I do, I go all out.
Love that. And that is you, because I will drag a pun, but that is excellent branding, and I live for that. But like, so how was putting that on? How was like the lead up to that? How was navigating that?
Navigating it is always stressful for me because I have the ADHD and all that. I try to plan things months in advance. So I already have like a lineup, the theme for the flyer. I do a meta theme with it every year. Last year's was the Final Girl. This year it was classic movie monsters. Basically, so I have all of that figured out, and then going up towards like the month of, I start stressing out because all the other Halloween events start popping up, getting announced, having Rue Girls, this, that, and the other thing. And then I worry that my gig at my home bar is going to be sparsely attended which luckily was not the case. This was the first year I got the Halloween show instead of a Halloween show.
Come on.
And hopefully it will happen again next year. I was happy enough to have a very, very famous drag queen who just recently performed at the TwitchCon Drag Showcase, fellow Stream Queens member Hermaphrodita. She did a little pop-up.
I know her.
It was
her
first Saturday show. I was glad to have her. But yeah, it's like that's kind of how I navigate it. I am very professional. If I tell you I'm going to pay you an amount of money, I'm going to pay you that. Whether or not that means you continue to be booked based on your behavior at the show, that's a whole nother question.
Ooh, it's giving subtweet. I love that.
Yes. I'm never booking her again.
What did you
No.
do? What did you do?
Not her.
No, she's wonderful.
No, I love that. Congratulations on being the Halloween queen of the hood. I love that. Alexis, you have a lash business, you have a model business, you're creating your own 2D art. How has it been, taking on these business ventures, featuring your art, and what has that experience been like for you?
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a lot of work, and for me, I feel like sometimes I struggle with focus. Like I'll have my hands in five pots, like I'll be trying to do everything. And right now I'm really trying to figure out what is the what is the what is the where should I like give my most focus and energy to? What is really working right now? And I think the last 3 years for me have been a lot of like experimenting, figuring out what I want to do. And that includes like performing drag, my relationship with, I've been doing drag for almost 7 years. I started in San Francisco, was performing there for 5 years. The pandemic hits and trying to get back to the stage has been an impossible journey, moving away from San Francisco, trying to break into the scene in Cleveland, now in Chicago, trying to make any connects here. If there's anyone in Chicago, hit me up later. It's just been come to a place where I'm like, you know what? Maybe being on the stage isn't as much as I want to do it. Like I want to express, I love performing. I love when I get the opportunity. I think I'm pretty good at it and people love me, but I have a limited amount of energy, right? Managing and leaving some of that energy for the unexpected to happen with my diabetes, and navigating that, like going out to a stage and performing. And like, for those of you who don't know, like, if you like overexert yourself as a type 1 diabetic, your blood sugar can drop very low, and that can be very dangerous to the point of like you could immediately die from that if you take too much insulin or you overexert yourself, and you have to really stop and take care of your blood sugar. So what if that happens when I'm on stage? And like,
Right.
we all know how much work it is to show up and perform. So focusing on like lashes, for example, as you pointed out, Cyriel, that has been such a blessing because maybe there's a little bit of brag, but not really. Like that's where the most coin is for me in terms of any of the artistic things that I do. And while I was sitting there sometimes making lashes, being like, oh, I wish I could like be on stage or see this person perform with them, it does make me feel in some small way a big part of what's going on in our queer and drag scenes. And my lashes, they get sold to places all over Europe. I've sent them to South America, Australia, Japan, Canada. Um, Cobra recently wore my lashes for her Shrek look. If you saw Mother.
If you think about it, you really are on stage more than any of us.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you get it, like
you were in heebie-jeebies as well.
Exactly, bitch. Like it's truly like, as don't get me wrong, love making money, but truly the best part of it for me right now is like feeling like I'm still part of it. That's all I really want, is to be invited and to be welcomed and to feel like I'm part of the drag scene and the queer community. And lashes has been such a great way. That's 2.gay, by the way, is where you can find them. Has been such a great way to stay connected without having to like sacrifice my personal health and my energy. And I think it's going to give me the resources and the space to eventually get back to the stage. So I'm so excited for that. And finally, last thing is that's another reason why I've been exploring like other mediums for drag and art expression, such as live 2D animation. Still very new at that, but if you're curious about VTubing, if you're not sure where to start, but it's something you want to get into, please let me pass that torch to you. It wasn't 2 years ago that I was sitting in a streaming chat looking at a VTuber being like, oh my God, what is this? How do I do it? And I'm so excited to be celebrating my first anniversary, 1 year of doing live 2D. So,
Yes.
Well, congratulations.
We got
And
5
I think
minutes
you are
left.
okay. Mark, oh, we have everyone heard it this time. I love you, Alexis, and you are such a fabulous addition to the team. And I love hearing
Yeah.
everything you
Must
have
being
to say
frozen right now.
That's
Oh,
fine.
stop, I'm
They'll
gonna
hear it. I
cry.
hope.
I didn't
But
rig
I
my
love hearing everything you have to say in all these panels.
I didn't rig my tears yet. Don't make me cry.
Rig them now. You have
Do
until
it
cancer
now. You have
season.
5 minutes. Do it.
Okay, hurry. Speaking of doing it now, we have 5 minutes. Dola, this is your fourth time running the Stream Queens Con ship.
Yes.
You keep Deer and several other streamers in check on a day-to-day basis. And you have a new gig with Twitch.
Yeah.
So how's all this been?
Yeah, it's great. So yeah, I am one of the producers of Stream Queens Con. It's always so chaotic and crazy, but beautiful, and I love it. I think we
I
make a
would
really
dare
good
venture to
show.
say lead producer of Stream Queens Con.
Ooh, take it in front of all the momagers right now.
Oh,
I take all
They'll
the
agree.
credit. Opa doesn't
will
exist.
agree.
He's not sitting right here. Yeah, and I also am part of the Twitch Safety and Advisory Council, which means I am a consultant to Twitch representing sort of communities I'm a part of in terms of like concerns with safety, my opinions on like new policy, stuff like that. I don't have any real power. I don't have a wrench, so don't come at me with
First of all,
Give
things you need
Dola a
done
wrench.
immediately. But yeah, if anyone does have sort of a safety issue that they would like me to share an opinion about with Twitch directly, I do have their ear, so I can do that. It doesn't mean anything's going to change, but I can do that. So hit me up for that. And free Palestine.
that's what I'm motherfucking talking about. That's what I'm motherfucking talking about. Aphasia Speaks, you were just in New York as a lead for Team Overture, nominated for
Contribution to Esports Organization.
Best Actress in a Dramatic Series.
Oh my God.
No. But
Davis?
how was that? Yes, you are. How was that? How was that experience? How was getting to go to New York with this team baby that you helped create and
Oh my God.
all that?
It was amazing. I have family that live in New York. So mom was originally from New York. And so luckily when this was announced, I was like, oh, so I'm going. And we're staying with at my grandfather's place in Queens. And a couple of other friends were there. They stayed there as well, and it was great. It was great to meet all of the people that were nominated, the streamer of the year, Trashly. Hey Trashly, congrats once again.
Hi Trashly.
For being Meg. And it was so great. It was so fun meeting all these people and like being in like that queer space, like knowing the person right next to me is a flaming fairy just like me, I'm not gonna say Dola, I almost did. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, right.
Moving on. Go. It's 2:30.
I'm sorry.
Y'all gonna kill me.
I'm leaving this panel. Are you done? Was that I hate you so much. I love you so much.
I'm so done.
We almost made it. Renee DeLay, you just stepped off of the stage at TwitchCon Paris.
Yes.
Representing all the wee slay. What was that experience like for you, and how did it feel?
It was insane. It was only my second gig, so I
Ooh.
I was like, oh, this is a stage. Oh, I have to move on. Oh no, I'm on a real stage. There were many levels to it, many separate levels of costume malfunctions. And that's just before I got on the actual stage. It was an amazing opportunity. I'm so grateful that Jenny took the chance on me, because I like to think that I did an okay job for someone who has zero real stage experience to be able to stand in front of that many people and be like, you know what, I'm going to dress as a nun and do stupid things in a conservative Catholic country. Let's think that's a great idea.
Yes.
and then let me get away with it for some reason. Amazing. But it was lovely, especially during the interview at the end, where I was able to talk about how, as a disabled person, I'm still able to stand up there and perform with some really talented performers, because the whole cast was amazing. And I remember just watching backstage thinking, oh no, they're all so good. Selfishly thinking, I'm not sure if I can move today. So it was amazing, and they were all so lovely and really respectful, because I was honestly extremely nervous to take part in that, and not knowing whether I was going to actually make it through the performance. You know, it was such a big deal, and it's one of my life highlights. I'm really pleased.
Well, we were all so excited to see you up there. Could not be prouder. You're a bad bitch, Renee.
Yes.
My favorite Renee. Let's know this.
The Renee that matters.
The Renee. Thank y'all so much for joining us for the Creators with Disabilities panel. My one takeaway to everybody watching is to consider the needs of other people, caption your streams, caption your content, use alt text when you can, take an extra step and think about the needs of other people that you might not have, but that can, these people that can add to your communities, that can provide so much. But we got to make things accessible to them. So get on it, everybody, super quickly. Let everyone know where they can follow you, and let's wrap this up because Dola has to go.
I do. So I will go first.
Yes.
I'm Doladar. Follow the Stream Queens account. Don't follow me. Goodbye.
Renee, go.
I am Renee Delay, and I am at Renee Delay on Twitter and on the Twitter on Twitter.
Lean in.
Yeah,
That's not a thing anymore.
Dead name
I
Twitter.
meant Twitch. Yes,
Oh, I
I'm
see.
Renee Delay on Twitch. All one word, and also on the former Twitter and on Instagram. That's a private account, but I'm happy to let people actually see my face if they wish to.
Fab.
Why they'd want to, I don't know.
Alexis, where can we find you?
You can find me probably not frozen on your screen at Alexis Atari on most social medias. ALXIS. Oh, there we go. ATAURI. AU, because she's European. She doesn't shave. Don't forget it. Hope to see y'all cuties soon.
Love it. Aphasia Speaks. Where are you at?
Hi, yes, I'm Aphasia Speaks, legendary drag artist from the Speakeasy. You can find me twitch.tv/Aphasia Speaks. Aphasia Speaks everywhere but Instagram. Instagram is going to Queen_Aphasia. Queen_Aphasia on Instagram, because the Aphasia Speaks is already taken.
Work.
By a white woman.
We'll address that next Stream Queens Con.
Wow.
Hebe Buffet, where are you at?
Hello, my name's Hebe Buffet. I'm an all-you-can-eat course of horror, dragon RPGs on Twitch. I am Hebe Buffet everywhere: Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitter, OnlyFans. No, we don't have that. But I stream every Monday and Thursday. This month's featured game is Alan Wake 2, and I do retro on Thursdays. I'll see you around.
Shout out. I've been your host, Surreal, twitch.tv/surrealism. Figure out how to spell it, and we'll see y'all in the chat.
Bye.
Bye.